Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Wisdom Reset. Today, we are going to be talking about the crossroads, more specifically about being in flow. This is the second session of a series that we are focusing on. If you didn't catch the first session, we talked about resistance. So be sure to catch that episode before you tune in to this one. Now, we're going to kick off this flow state with where it's at within the series. So there are going to be four topics that we cover within the crossroads. We have resistance, we have flow, receiving, and decision. And you will learn more about that throughout this process. And let's dive in. So, what is flow? The flow state it's a state of being.
Mm-hmm.
It is an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Flow requires presence
Mm-hmm.
in every form.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very necessary step when it comes to navigating the crossroads that we've been talking about. And I would love for my wonderful co host to talk more about what the flow state represents and what that can look like when it comes to the crossroads.
Okay. Um, as it relates to when you're at the crossroads, when you are um, at the crossroads in your life, the first thing we talked about was resistance, is recognition in that. And once you go through that process of um, resistance, recognition in the resistance, once you go through that process, then you begin to find your flow. And the flow may look different for different people depending on the situation. But the some of the common things that happen when one flows is you sleep better at night, bitch.
Yeah.
You sleep better at night. You don't have all kinds of things on your mind. Things about that particular situation don't bother you as much. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't bother you as much. It doesn't drive you mad crazy. It's not something that you think about often, several times a day. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't occupy space. It doesn't occupy energy. It releases you. You have been released from, when you're in the flow. It's an experience. It's a feeling, like you were saying. You experience the fullness of more situations when you're in the flow. It starts to those ailments we spoke about back in resistance that start to show up. They start to come to a middle ground. They come to the middle center point of that particular thing. And that center point it comes to causes the elements attack to retreat. It causes it to retreat. In fact, you begin to, in the flow, you begin to work the process. I need to get a little bit more rest. I need to not eat that. I need to not drink that. I need to not do this. I need to do more of this. I need to do more of this. Whether it be working out, whether it be eating more fruits and vegetables, whether it may be taking herbal supplements, whether it is loose leaf. You know what I'm saying? We would prefer the loose leaf. We prefer all natural, but starting the process when you're in the flow of something, it is like ease, and it is a time where you begin to breathe a little bit. When you're in the flow, you start to breathe. You start to and then as you're breathing in the flow, when you're flowing, you begin to see. You begin to see what next steps look like. You begin to see, this is the space where downloads start to take place. When you're in the flow, you start getting downloads. You be like, oh my God, I've seen this vision. I got this vision. I got that. I got it. You know what I'm saying? And you get to that, you get excited. And this is the time we want to start writing stuff down. Right?
Mhm.
In the flow, when you're in the flow, you want to write down anything that comes to you, visions, whether it be Visual art. If you're not an artist, you can't draw. So what? Do you kindergarten drawing? I know I do mine. But as long as you can see what it is that you've drawn, it may not be the exact same thing. You're still in the flow. So you want to go with the flow in a way to where when those visions come, you can make note of them. You can document them. So because that's going to give you, how do I say this? It's going to give you directives, when you're in the flow. So it's an ease in the flow. So when you're at the crossroads of a decision you have to make in your life, look at where it is you're resisting, as we talked about in the last segment, and then come into your flow. You see, heal, release, and flow, motherfucker. Okay. Okay.
And it can feel confusing sometimes when, if you're not used to, if you're coming out of a state of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Flow requires being present, and that can feel very foreign.
Yes.
If you're not used to that. I know it was for me
Yes.
when I was just like, "Ooh, what is this?"
My God. Yes.
It because I was feeling feelings that I've been avoiding.
Mm-hmm.
It was picking up on things that I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to articulate my experiences. And so that can feel very overwhelming in this state. And the feeling of overwhelm, of unsurety, of confusion doesn't mean that what you're experiencing is wrong
Right.
or right. It's just,
Right.
it is just a transition process.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you now, I mean, years later,
Mm-hmm.
deep into my journey of spiritual growth and self-discovery, these things still happen.
Right.
I'm aware of what they are. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, well, this is different, or what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I just, want to just highlight that, because that
Yeah.
is a part of it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just think like, oh, well, because you don't have anything else to compare it to.
Right.
Like, oh, well, this is like, and you, some things you just can't fucking Google. Okay.
Right.
You can't Google.
They don't even know what it is. They haven't figured it out. It's you talking about it out loud that make them know what it is. And they come up with the content for it. The more people talk about it, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway.
Exactly.
Okay.
So sometimes, and this is so, and Mayette was mentioning, like, when it comes to this is a great time to journal, which I definitely highly recommend.
Yes.
Creating your own, what I call your arsenal of knowledge and your arsenal of awareness, and you can refer back to this.
Yes.
And the things that you weren't sure about, write them down, because there's later on down the line you can refer back to that, or you will be guided back to that, and then you'll be like, oh wait, now I know what this is now.
Yep.
So you're giving your future self and your current self information.
Absolutely.
And
Girl, your future self is in the flow. Your future
exactly.
self is in the flow. And when
Yeah.
when you journal like you're describing, your future self is giving you messages for a later time, baby. You better take note. And it's not this elaborate thing that people think journaling is. It's just, oh, this is an elaborate thing. No, when you're in the flow, something comes to your mind, and it came to it for a reason. It came from another space and place because it is out of nowhere and you don't really comprehend it, but it excites the fuck out of you. You write it down. It don't have to make sense. And things you write down, you can write down a series of things in a 24-hour period that it doesn't appear to relate to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But as you continue in your flow, because this is one of the phases, when you're at the crossroads, the second phase, that once you're in it, it is something that carries through the rest of the four phases, the rest of the other two phases. It carries through it. And flow is pivotal, because in the flow, not only do you hear from your future self and you make note and gain directives, but you are also in this space to where you are able to see more of you. And that's key, because in each one of these phases that we're going to describe before and in the future, are going to be those of them where it always turns back into you. You're going to always look at you, because you are the common denominator that got you to the crossroads in the first motherfucking place.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, brother and sister did this, that, and the third. However, comma, you were vibrating at that frequency for a reason to receive it. So you're at the crossroads in your life for a reason. When you get to the state of flow, then you will absolutely know, because things will start to happen in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. As you were stating earlier, nothing is good, bad, right, or wrong. It is what it is. It
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. And that's a principle that one needs to recognize without attachment. We
Yeah.
get caught up in that. You're not in the flow when you're caught up in an attached situation, whether it be with people, places, or things. You're not in the flow. You're
Yeah.
caught up in an attached situation because there's something that's causing you to be attached. I want you guys to realize something, and then and I think that this is a good way to land on flow. When you are in flow and you get to a space of recognition of self, right? When you are in flow, you get to that space of recognition of self, you begin to operate differently. The flow is a pivotal moment you need to recognize when you're in the crossroad, because you get to operate in a fashion where you are consciously aware of
Mm-hmm.
what it is that's taking place. When it's taking place, you are completely detached, or you align yourself to detach from a situation, place, or thing. You recognize nothing is good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is what it is. You're
Yeah.
able to, you strengthen your flow when you get to this space. You strengthen when you learn all these components in the flow. You get to that space of strength. You get to that space of looking at situations, be like, okay. At the crossroads, you're recognizing how you got there, why you got there, what's keeping you there. Most of the times, all of the times, actually, it's your ass. You
Oh
keeping you there.
yeah. Yep. You are the problem and the
You
solution.
are the problem.
And the solution. Come on.
Okay, and the solution. So at the crossroads, you're going to stop and see where you're resisting. And we gave gems, we dropped gems in our last episode of this particular series, the very first one, resistance. Go catch them gems if you didn't catch them, because you doing this, you skipping the process. You one of them people that like to skip the process. Now, well, I want to go ahead and see flow is what I need to learn about, but these all go together as one thing. This is one thing. It's one body and different parts to one body. So in
Yep.
order for you to be able to proficiently get at a crossroads and not have to repeat that same crossroad again, if you follow these particular steps that we're highlighting for them, in my personal and professional opinion, if you follow these steps, then you are less apt to repeat the situation, the behavior, the thought pattern, you know what I'm saying, the action that caused you to get to this crossroads in the first place. I need somebody to hear me
Mm-hmm.
when you can't hear me. Now listen, we over on YouTube, we on Instagram, we on Twitter, and we on Facebook. Go and follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment on all the places that you can. Ask all the questions that you need to answer. There it is. Got questions? Share in the comments. We will answer in our next Q&A. And at the end of every last one of our series, our final one will be the reset portion. See, it's spirit. That's the whole category. So right now it's crossroads. That's spirit. Okay. You're going to learn to listen to your spirit telling you what's going on with you, right? Right. Okay. And then wisdom comes in these little segments that we're teaching right now. We're breaking it down to you, and this is the wisdom from the we're sharing our wisdom that we've gained through our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Coupled with our professional background, our certifications and training. Okay, and then the next stage, reset, is our Q&A. That's where you're going to send us questions, honey, and we're going to answer those things live. Okay, we're going to answer those things live. You'll be able to come and catch us out on our YouTube page. You'll be able to come and go in and get some snippets of what we've done on our Twitter and Instagram. There's going to be lots of different things for you to do, but that's our reset. So you need to reset. So spirit is speaking to you. Listen, shut up.
Damn right.
Okay, shut up and listen to your spirit speaking to you, because your spirit is going to impart wisdom, and give you opportunities and directions and ways that one should reset. Okay, Spirit Wisdom Reset. Y'all better get into it. And I am Mayette Ajay Ib, and this is my lovely co-host, sister friend, Love. Who's your
Yes,
Wayette? Mm-hmm.
it has been
Listen,
a pleasure. I
yes,
hope you enjoyed this episode of the Crossroads, emphasis on the flow state. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, follow, and connect with us on all platforms. And we'll see you on the next one.
peace.